I'm going to read chapter 18, Away to the South. Before reading chapter 18, I'll talk about chapter 17. In the end, Oz and Dusty made the balloon, and they fired and then make fires to get balloon launched. And then when they made the balloons, and Oz and Dorothy load on the basket, and so fired, and the balloon was about to launch, and then Oz at the time Oz told the people, green peoples, to serve, and then Scarecrow as their leader, and then Oz and Dorothy were off to the air. So now the journey is again begin, and I'm going to read chapter 18 with a narrator. Here you go.
Wizard of Oz by L. Frank Baum. Chapter 18, Away to the South. Dorothy wept bitterly at the passing of her hope to get home to Kansas again, but when she thought it all over, she was glad she had not gone up in a balloon.
And she also felt sorry at losing Oz, and so did her companions. The Tin Woodman came to her and said,
"Truly I should be ungrateful if I failed to mourn for a man who gave me a lovely heart.
I should like to cry a little because all these gowns, if you so kind and wipe away through my tears, but I shall left with pleasure," she answered, and brought a towel at once.
Then the Tin Woodman wept for several minutes, and she watched the tears carefully and wiped them away with the towel.
When he had finished, he thanked her kindly and owed himself to throw it with his jewel or cane to guard against himself.
Scarecrow was now the ruler of the Emerald City, and although he was not a wizard, the people were proud of him, for
they said there is not another city in all around is ruled by a stuffed man. So far as they knew, they were quite right.
Right. The morning after the balloon had gone up with Oz, the four travelers met in the throne room and talked matters over. The Scarecrow sat in the big throne, and the others stood respectfully before him.
"We are not so unlucky," said a new ruler, "for this palace and Emerald City belongs to us. We can do just as we please."
"When a short time ago I was up on a pole in a farmer's cornfield, and that now I am the ruler of this beautiful city, I am quite satisfied with my lot."
"I also," said the Tin Woodman's son, "well pleased with my new heart, and really that was the only thing I wished in all the world."
"For my part, I am content in knowing I am as brave as any beast that ever lived, if not braver," said the lion modestly.
"If those would only be contented to live in the Emerald City," continued the Scarecrow, "we might all be happy together."
"But I don't want to live here," cried Dorothy. "I want to go to Kansas and live with Aunt Anne and Uncle Henry."
"Well then, what can be done?" inquired the old man. The Scarecrow decided to think, and he thought so hard that pins and needles began to stick out of his brains.
He said, "Why not call the winged monkeys and ask them to carry you over the desert?" "I never thought of that," said Dorothy joyfully.
"It's just a thing. I'll go at once for the golden cap."
When she brought it into the throne room, she spoke the magic words, and soon the band of winged monkeys flew in through the open window and stood beside her.
"This is the second time you have called us," said the monkey's wings, bowing before the little girls. "What do you wish?"
"I want you to fly with me to Kansas," said Dorothy. But the Monkey King shook his head. "This cannot be done," he said.
"We belong to this country alone, and cannot leave it. There has never been a winged monkey in Kansas yet. I suppose there never will be, for they don't belong there."
"Glad to serve you in any way in our power, but we cannot cross the desert. Goodbye."
And with another bow, the Monkey King spread his wings and flew away through the windows, followed the walrus band. Dorothy was ready to cry with disappointment.
"The charm of the golden cap to no purpose," she said, "for the winged monkeys cannot help me." "It is certainly too bad," said the tender-hearted woodman.
The Scarecrow was thinking again, and his head bulged out. So horribly, burst feared out the burst, and just calling the soldiers with green whiskers, he said, ask his advice.
Summoned and entered the throne room timidly, for while Oz was alive, he never was allowed to come farther than the door. This
This illegal, said Scarecrow to the soldier, wishes to cross the desert. How can she do so?
I cannot tell, answered the soldier, for no one has ever crossed the desert, unless it is Oz himself. Is there no one who will help me? Asked Dorothy earnestly.
Glinda might, he suggested. Who is Glinda? Inquired the Scarecrow, and the witch of the south. She is the most powerful old witches that rules over the Quadlings.
Besides, her castle stands on the edge of the desert, so she may know a way to cross it. Glinda is a good witch, isn't she? Asked the child.
The Quadling think she is good, and the soldier, and she is kind to everyone. I have heard that Glinda is a beautiful woman who knows how to keep the young in spite of the many years.
How can I get to her castle? Asked Dorothy. The road is straight to the south, he answered, but is said to be full of dangers to travelers. There are wild beasts
in the woods, and a race of curious men who do not like strangers to cross their country, but this reasons none of the Quadlings ever come to Emerald City.
The soldier then left them, and the Scarecrow said,
It seems, in spite of danger, that the best thing Dorothy can do is to travel to Land of the South and ask Glinda to help her.
For, of course, if Dorothy stays here, she will never get back to Kansas. You must have been thinking again, remarked the Tin Woodman. I have, said the Scarecrow.
I shall go with Dorothy. Glad Alliance, for I am tired of your sitting so long for the woods and country again. I'm a little wild beast, you know.
Besides, Dorothy will need someone to protect her. That is true, agreed the Woodman. My axe may be of service to her, so I shall go with her to the Land of the South.
When shall we start? Asked the Scarecrow. Are you going? They asked in surprise. Certainly, if it wasn't for Dorothy, I should never have had brains.
She lifted me from the pole in the cornfield and brought me to the Emerald City. So
my good luck is all due to her, and I shall never leave her until she starts back to Kansas for good and all. Thank you, said Dorothy gratefully. You are all very kind to me.
should like to start as soon as possible. We shall go tomorrow morning, returned the Scarecrow.
So now let us all get ready, for it was to be a long journey.
End of chapter 18.
I read it, chapter 18. I misunderstood it. And then Oju was left alone. And then Dorothy, who tried to find the Toto, and then she got off the basket, out of basket, and then at the moment, and Oju left and flew away, and Dorothy was left alone with Totos, and then now, and this is conference to have Dorothy to meet Glinda, who is a good witch of South. Chapter 19. Go for chapter 19 next time.